I'm Allison for Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and I'm here today to talk about one of our great tutorials for our equipment series, brushing sprays. We get a lot of questions about when do I use what kind of brushing spray, how do I use them, etc. So I'm going to start off by saying the most important thing is that you never brush dry hair. No matter what coat type we're talking about, you don't dry brush hair. If you're in a pinch, you could use a little bit of conditioner mixed with water, and you could use that as your brushing spray. Before there were actual brushing sprays, that's what I did all the time, and it works fantastically. But doesn't matter. Do not use a brush without a spray. Most important thing we can talk about. All right, so then let's move on. So for general brushing sprays, it's kind of my go-tos are, I'm gonna use something like Just Divine or Precious Drops. Like, those are two great ones. But for dogs that have any kind of tangling as a general run, and also because this has sunscreen in it, I like the Ice on Ice detangling spray. So simply you just want to mist it on your dog as you're brushing and kind of brush right through them. Just a little bit of moisturizing. This is a great one for basically every single coat type because it does have detangling and sunscreen in it. You can also just spray the Ice on Ice detangling spray on your smooth coated dog before you brush them with a bristle brush. That would also work great for conditioning the coat as well as the skin. So this is just for our general maintenance brushing. Moving on, if I was going to be scissoring, I like to use bottoms up. Bottoms up doesn't come ready to use. You have to dilute it. I like to dilute it from 12 to 16 to 1. So it's diluted in this spray bottle at 12 to 1. But if you're using it in a fine mist, one of our exquisite misters, you must dilute it 16 to 1. If you're putting it in a fine mist bottle, a continuous mister, and it comes out in a stream, it's not your spray bottle. It's the fact that the bottoms up is too heavily concentrated in there. So you don't need very much of it, but it's a great scissoring spray. It builds body, so you can use it while you're drying, but it also helps to scissor. It helps really hold the hair out where you need it to be held out. And I think it's another fantastic spray. So next we're going to move on to two other brushing sprays that we really like. So we have Ice on Ice Ultra, and this is a conditioning and dematting spray, and it comes in this bag on valve system that hopefully I know how to work. And it comes out a really beautiful mist. It's not aerosol, so you can take it with you. And it comes out in a really fine mist. It is a great spray for people that think they're getting their dogs a little bit too wet when they're spraying there because it comes out in such a lovely fine mist. I also like it for between baths, especially those areas that are really getting matted, like down here in the armpits. I find this is a great spray to use in there. I like using it on their legs, especially in inclement weather when it's muddy, wet, snowy, whatever you may have. This is another great spray for that. Another area is behind the ears where they get matting as well. Because it sprays so uniformly, it really helps get that spray exactly where you want it. And I just think that this is a great spray. Now, I use this more always for maintenance. I never use it for a show spray, where the Ice on Ice is the detangling spray in this kind of spray bottle is a little bit more universal just for me. Now, the last spray I'm going to talk to you about is our Quench leave-in conditioner. So again, this comes in the bag on valve. And again, that really nice spray that comes out. So this is a great all over moisturizer. So you have a dog that needs a little bit more moisture in their coat. You can use it right after the bath. You can use it as your daily brushing spray. You can use it just at the ends. So say you have any kind of breed or dog that you feel the ends of the coat are the culprit, you can just spray it at the ends kind of after you've brushed it, and it will soak right in there. But also very useful for a brushing spray. But it does a great job for deep conditioning, and that's why I like to use it. So The one thing that we want to say is no matter what coat type you have, no matter what breed, every time you brush your dog, you need to use some kind of brushing spray. And at the end of the day, the reason is if you think about your brush going through the coat, the drag that your brush can have on the coat, it can make it more uncomfortable for your dog, but typically you're creating static when you're doing that. And it starts to snap off the coat, it starts to break the coat. And any of these brushing sprays, what they do is they help to lubricate the individual coat strand. So if you think of when you have a ring on your finger and your ring is stuck on there, you can't get it off, what do? You put something lubricating on there, right? And that helps to slip the ring off, and you don't feel that drag on your finger. It doesn't hurt your finger as much. We've all had that ring stuck on our finger where there's it's painful to get it off. And that's somewhat same with our dog's coat. By simply lubricating the hair strands, your brush slides through the coat much easier. You're not dragging through the coat, and you can just get a really nice look to the coat, but it's just what it's going to do long term, having that spray in there, lubricating between each and every hair strand, and how important that is. So when it comes to coat types, let's talk about what brushing spray you would pick per coat type. So again, my Ice on Ice detangling spray is my universal. I can use this on every coat type. So on my double coated dogs, my scissored coat type, smooth because it has that UV protection in it, my drop coats, my wire coated dogs, this is the spray that I can use. Remember, on our hard coated terriers, we're not really going to use a lot of spray on the part that's stripped out. So their flat work or their backs. Again, I'd probably only use a little bit of Ice on Ice with a bristle brush just to help get the dirt and dander out of there. But I would use on those wire coated types, I would use an Ice on Ice spray, a bodifying spray on their legs, and then maybe Quench if they needed more moisture, right? So those are the kind of sprays I would use for wire coated. I would most likely use the same types of sprays for my double coated breeds, right? So my Aussies, my Shelties, my Berners, my Siberian Huskies, I'm going to use Ice on Ice again for the UV protection and just an overall great spray. Again, for show, bodifying spray, so like my Bottoms Up would be a spray that I would use, and then Quench if they needed more moisture. We already talked about smooth coat, how probably you're just going to use a Quench or a Ice on Ice. Getting into our scissored coat types, we want to use the Ice on Ice detangling or the Ice on Ice Ultra for really heavily matted areas, a bodifying one when we're scissoring, and then Quench for overall moisture. Moving into drop coat, you're not going to use a bodifying spray on them, right? You're not going to use a volumizing spray, so we wouldn't use a Bottoms Up, but we would use we would use our Ice on Ice, both of them, the Ultra and the detangling spray, and Quench for moisture. So those are kind of the different sprays that I would use for the different coat types. If you had a rustic coat type in any of those, I would probably stick to Ice on Ice, really diluted down, right? So I'm going to dilute it even more for my rustic coat types. And I hope that that kind of helps you figure out what spray you're going to use for what coat type you have out there. Setter Spaniels, same. I would maybe use the bodifying on their legs and their top lines, and then I'm going to use Ice on Ice for their feathering, and I'm going to use a Quench if they needed more moisture. So then moving on to the different kinds of spray bottles, really it's kind of personal preference, whatever kind of one that you like. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these types. I mean, we see these all the time. These are the ones we have for a lot of personal products, but by the time I start using it on my dog, my finger gets tired. Right? Also, they're kind of hard to hold on to, so I don't really like that. But the good news is that you could buy a product like this. This is Quicker Slicker. You can put it into a continuous mist. You can put it into a normal trigger spray bottle like this. And my only comment would be if it comes out more in a stream when it should come out with a spray, you can always pour that into a different vessel. Check your spray bottle with just plain water in it. If the sprayer works with just plain water in it, it's going to work with your product in it. You just have to dilute your product down a little bit more, which is maybe why they're not sold in that kind of trigger spray bottle. So just a little tip for you there. And so kind of the trigger ones are kind of my go-to, but I do love these continuous mist bottles. At Chris Christensen, we call these the exquisite mist bottles, because I pump and it comes out in this ultra fine mist, and it just one little pump and it pumps out that much product. Again, these bottles can be quite finicky, so if it's coming out in a stream, that means that your product, it needs to be diluted down a little bit more for this kind of spray bottle to actually work for you. Now, some of these products, these are non-refillable, so good and bad. So the bag on valve system is a fantastic system because it's non-aerosol, comes out in this super great mist, super durable. I love these, but they're not refillable. So that's something to keep in mind. But these two are great products that do come in these bag on valve type systems. I love them because they, again, super easy to use and come out in that beautiful mist. So, I mean, we thought that there wasn't that much information to tell you about grooming sprays, but here you go. Once you get down to coat types, the kind that you use, just please always remember, no matter what, when you're picking up a brush, you must also pick up a brushing spray. I hope that helps. Hi guys, thanks for joining us on another video in our equipment series. Like we said, there is a lot of equipment here that we need to cover. So if we haven't yet hit the piece of equipment that you're yearning to learn about, let us know in the comments below and we will add it to our very next one. As well, don't forget to like and subscribe, because then you won't miss out on a video that maybe you've requested or something that you want to know about. We are always here for you to answer any of your questions about these or any other products, any other thing that you need to know to take great care of your dog, whether you're in the salon, going to a dog show, or just trying to get your dog groomed at home in the easiest and most efficient way possible. So thanks again for joining us in our equipment series.